Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Camrich Los Angeles showroom in West Hollywood. I'm here with Julia Quiceno with her movie Contigo. Let's take a look at a clip. Julia, congratulations on your film. Thank you so much for taking me on this fantastic journey. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here.
Of course.
So the story is about a little girl who has to deal with loss and has a little bit of magic in it. Mm-hmm. And after losing her dad, she reconnects with him through his help. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit about it. It's
such a beautiful story. Like, honestly, to capture, you know, your imagination and to fall for the characters, particularly in animation as well. I mean, I found myself, like, I did have tears when I watched it. It was very emotional and very moving and such a beautiful story. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating the story?
So it was really funny because at first I didn't know what I wanted to do. Uh-huh. And I was so scared because I had never done anything that big in animation.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be my thesis film. I have to finish it. I wanna graduate.
I wanna graduate.
But I also wanted to do something that came from me and that I could relate to. And so I feel like I base everything on my emotions because I feel like I don't have anything really, really dramatic in my life that I can, you know, like explore. But I am very emotional.
Yeah.
So I started thinking like what type of things I would like to explore and deal with, and I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I wanted to deal with the idea of loss and the relationship between a father and a daughter.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen that, like a lot of that in film, so I wanted to kind of like explore that as well.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like came from that.
It's very true though, but what I love is sometimes people take it from personal experiences and they create something, and you just, you know, happen to say, I want to focus in on the father and the daughter, and I haven't necessarily experienced this, but, you know, I want to showcase it. And I think what was so lovely about your story is that, you know, people probably do have a relation to someone that they love in their immediate family or someone they look up to, and you can't help but just, you know, feel these characters, but you also, you know, internally think about your own personal experience yourself. And I think it was so beautiful and it was really quite wonderful. I love your style of animation, like really, really well. I was like, I want to see a whole series like this. This is so awesome. Tell us a bit more about that and kind of like how you went about things to kind of like create your certain style. And it was very colorful. How it was beautiful to watch. So
I had a mentor and she really, really helped me a lot, thank God. And what we do at first, we start to look for inspiration of things that we would like to do. And so I started just Googling a bunch of images of different illustrations and different types of art. And I came across Song of the Sea, and I really wanted to do it in that style. So the first thing I did was do some style frames in that style to kind of like understand it, but I didn't want to copy it completely because I also wanted to kind of like give it my own personal thing to it. And I also started looking at a bunch of artists on Instagram. There's a guy that uses a bunch of color. I think he paints in oil, but it's really vibrant. He doesn't really use a lot of grays, nothing like that. It's just like blues and yellows and reds. It's just everything is there. And so I kind of like just took that and kind of like mishmashed it together and did like different versions. And it just kind of like, as I did it more, it became easier for me to finish them and to like find my voice in that type of art.
Yeah, well, you certainly did. I was like,
Thank you.
I absolutely loved it. I just wanted to see more. So, you know, obviously I don't think people realize, you know, your film obviously was, a pretty short film, but how much time it takes to make and the process of it. You know, what is the kind of length of time that you made to make a film? What were some of the kind of challenges that you had as well?
Okay, so I mean, if you're not on a time frame, you can take as much time as you want.
But it was your thesis, right?
But it was my thesis. So I only had 2 semesters, which was about like 8 months, a year. And so I had to make sure that all the pre-production was ready in the first half of the fall semester in 2016, and that I started doing all the rough animation so that on the next semester I could clean it up and color it. It takes a long time to animate. It's 24 frames, so 24 drawings per second.
24 drawings per second. Think about drawings. That. Yeah.
And if you're doing it hand drawn, you have to draw every frame.
Yeah.
Well, you can do it on twos or you can do it on ones. I did it on twos, so it's basically just 12 drawings, and then if you multiply it by 2, then you have your 24 frames. But yeah, I just started with the pre-production, and the key to it is just have like a solid story so that you're not changing things around too much. Yeah. Because you don't want to animate something and then scratch it and then not use it, because then you wasted all that time animating that part. Yes. And then you have to reanimate it. So it's like, no. So it's basically just like a lot of storyboarding, having your story set on what you want, and then start animating, and then finding outside help.
Yes. And how was the process for you with your outside help? Did you, obviously you got some great people, and we've got one of our fellow friends at New Filmmakers who helped with your composition as an example, but how do you create and bring your team together?
So I started asking my professors if they could help me out, like what people I could go to. The school has a lot of resources, which is great. So I went into the website that they have for composers. There's like a year program that they do. And so that's how I found Marco.
Marco, he's awesome.
And I was like, he is awesome. He is awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, please God, send me someone that I can connect with and that they're going to understand what I want and the vision that I want. And so I listened to a couple of demos from different people. And then from his, I felt that that was like the most, like his tracks were the most, like the closer ones, the closest to what I wanted. And so I contacted him, I emailed him, he replied really, really fast. I was like, okay. And then we met, and I really, really liked him. I felt like we connected really well. And he understood my vision, he understood what I wanted. And so that's how that relationship started. That's good. And then I didn't find a lot of outside animators. It was mostly my professors. My sister helped me color the film because I did need help.
Very talented family.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Because obviously you have other classes as well. Yeah. So it's not like you're just working on that.
On this one, yeah.
So while I was doing like other stuff for other things, like essays and stuff, and I was like, this is
I'm gonna make a film too, right? Yeah.
I was like, can you please help me paint this? And then I just trained her. So if the person has not used the program, you kind of like have to train them and show them how to use it. And I did that. She understood really, really well. She's my sister. So we already had like a relationship.
Keep it in the family, people. Yeah, that's very good. No, it's wonderful. How important is your finding that team though, like in your experience?
It is really important. I feel like you need to find people that you have a good relationship with. I feel like in bigger projects, you're gonna have multiple visions, so it doesn't really matter. Like, there's still gonna be like maybe a little bit of conflict going back and forth, like throwing like ideas out there and like trying to reach a midpoint where everything is fine. So I do think you need to meet people and then find like a group of people that can connect, so that the project can, strive and be good.
Can strive and
yes.
Well, on that note, like obviously you're from the beautiful country of Colombia. Yes. We're all going after this.
Hi Colombia.
Hi Colombia. And obviously you've lived here a few years now and gone to school here, and this is your thesis film. How does it feel from that whole journey that you've come from, been here, and then having your film set for New Filmmakers LA in front of an audience? What is that feeling like for you as a filmmaker?
It's really overwhelming. It's so overwhelming, I might cry, but I'm like, okay.
Oh. Kleenex, anyone? Kleenex, please. Yeah.
It was such a journey because I am one of those people that I really like doing different things.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I finished school, and I was like, oh my God, like it's such a big deal. It's always a big deal when you finish something. You're like, okay, I have to start this. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah. I don't know. So my sister was already here. Yeah. And she was like, she found an art program, and I was like, okay, my school was very geared toward like academics and very scholarly, but I didn't want to do anything with that. And so she found an art program, an animation program at the Art Institute. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. So I just came here, and that was like October of 2011.
Yep.
And I started there, and that was kind of like my first step towards like the animation world, because I didn't know you could get a job in the animation world. I was like, oh, I like this, but I didn't know it was actually a thing.
Yeah.
And so I started there, and then I was like, okay, so I want to build my skills, and I want to go to a school that will kind of like build up my film knowledge.
Yeah, of course.
And so I did only a year there, then I transferred to Santa Monica College for a while to do my GEs, and then I ended up transferring to USC. And then there I remember I arrived and everybody already knew each other because they had been together the first year. So you get in, if you transfer, you enter as a sophomore, so the second year. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I understand nothing. I remember like the professor was like writing the 24 frame thing, and I was like, what is this? I have no idea what he's talking about.
What am I doing? Yeah.
And it's like one of those moments that you like feel insecure and you're like, I don't want to ask people because I don't want to, let them know that I don't know.
I know, it's scary, isn't it? I mean, we've all been there. We've all been to that point. I'm on set. What on earth do I do right now?
Exactly.
Like,
but then you learn that it doesn't matter, that if you ask, it's actually better.
It is. Yeah, it is.
And that, I mean, the only person that's kind of like judging you more, it's you. Like nobody else is gonna judge you.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Like I learned that in the 3 years that I was there. So by the end, I was more comfortable asking my classmates like, oh, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me out? I have no idea.
So important to ask questions, isn't it? I mean, for going from like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. To
then have an audience and your film is up there on a big screen and it's in front of people. That must be like this is what I did it
like,
for.
Oh my God, it's getting into festivals. Oh wow, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well deserved. I mean, it's very hard to make a film, that's short and be so effective. But I mean, I just cried. You'll cry too. I'm just letting you know in advance. Antigua, make you cry. It's beautiful. I mean, again, you've taken that whole journey, and it is scary when you leave your hometown, your country, and you come here.
Oh, yeah, that's scary.
It's scary, but you're here and you're doing it and you're talented. What advice would you give to anyone that wants to kind of like follow in your particular footsteps?
I would say just do it. Like even if you're not sure, just try it out. I feel like you will regret it if you don't try it out.
That's right.
And I feel like by doing that, like putting yourself out there, you find your way. So I would just say, my advice is just like go ahead and jump in, whatever it is.
Jump in, dive in.
Trying to find a way, doesn't matter, even if it's small, big, whatever it is, just do it. Try it.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I think that's really good advice. What is next for you?
So I just graduated.
Yay! Woo! Celebration.
I'm applying to a few things, so I'm waiting to hear back. But I definitely have some ideas that I want to work on and write out. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I mean, it's a pleasure to have you here in Los Angeles and to have your talent here, and it's great that your family of talented, people in the film world are here as well, which is brilliant. So, congratulations on your film, Julia, and thank you so much for your great work, and we look forward to seeing much more.
Thank you.
Julia, everybody.
Thank you, guys.